That's how easy we give up on our dreams, or on our wishes, or on what we want to do in life, or to have in life. Or Night English podcast topic: excuses. What does dictionary say? Excuse is seek to lessen the blame attaching to something or someone. So for a fault or offense, try to justify. With another explanation definition is a reason or explanation given to justify a fault or offense. So there we go, right? We can look like from question, when do we have excuses?
Like all the time. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, right. I mean, all the time, but it's not far from the truth for a loads and loads of human beings. And yet, I wouldn't say we are having excuses all the time, but we do have them. And when, it's usually, what would you say?
When we are not comfortable with doing something, or we don't take the responsibility for what we did. I think those are the two most like common situations.
Yeah, I would agree. I just saw something. Give me a sec.
Sure.
It's okay. It's okay. I cannot do anything. You're sitting really on the left of your
Sorry.
camera. If you go in the middle, would be a little bit better. Yeah. All right. Cool. Yeah, exactly what you said. In chat, you can work with us. So whenever I ask something or Ula asks something, you can answer it also. So we get more sharing going on out there. So yeah, when do we have excuses? Yeah, when we fail at something and we don't want to be responsible for it, just like you said it, right? Or when we want to do something but we think it's too big at the moment for us, so then we go with the excuses. I can't do it. It's like my hair on my left knee is hurting, and it's really, I cannot do the workout today.
Yeah, or we make an excuse about the excuse. That one is even better. We're making up excuses to hide that we have excuses.
Yeah, that happens too. Right? And then we always look also, what is the nature of excuse, basically. What would you say?
You're very good with that explanation about the nature of things. And I'm not. That's my excuse.
There we go. There we go. Strike number one.
Oh shit.
Right, it's that fast how they come. Oh, you're very good, so I don't need to say much because we have you here. So
Yes.
And you just that was just demonstration of what nature of excuse is. Right. So yeah, nature of excuses, you don't have to be responsible for it. It's easier to say something or someone did something, so that is why I couldn't, where actually you could say, well, if I would wake up 10 to 7 like I planned to, I would have enough time to prepare and I would be on time. No, I wasn't, because there were all the red lights, man. Really. All the lights were red. Can you imagine? And I went from home 10 minutes later than I planned. But we don't say that.
But you know what? When you're saying that, like, I realize that many people don't even realize those are excuses. They actually live in that world where this is just normal thing.
Yeah,
because
but-
I went to the I had a seminar. I was running the seminar. It was actually a team building, and a girl came late, and she said, oh my God, I'm sorry I'm late, but it's completely not my fault. The weather, like, oh my God,
Oh, bro.
my
Right.
car got frozen. I cannot believe it. It's the weather's fault. And I was like, what? It's winter. What are you talking about? But yeah, for her, it was completely real. And when I said, well, that's actually your responsibility because you should just get up a little bit earlier and clean the car and
Mm.
came here on the time at the time. And she was so mad at me, like I said something really like bad or wrong. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that is right. We just have another. That is the nature of excuse, not being responsible and not even considering that is lack of responsibility. It's just like you say it, and we should all be like, "Oh yeah, all right, that's a viable excuse," right? When it's okay, Mr. JP, all good, all good.
Yeah, excuses.
Yeah, nice, right? Time emergency, another excuse. Like, whether you should take responsibility. I gave a birth to this child who need my attention, and I went and feed him or comfort him. Not Thai emergency. Thai has nothing to do with that. You went there. You didn't need to go, but you choose to go, so it's your responsibility. No, but in the end, like when you look at it back, it's just like that. So you can either have an excuse or you can be responsible, but you cannot be both at the same time. It just doesn't walk hand in hand. So did we find, right? What is the opposite of being responsible? Well, naturally we will say irresponsible. But then how does irresponsibly shows on the court, right? It's you're having excuses. That is one way. And yeah, I was just thinking today, it's so normal to make an excuse for it. It's like, it's like a human thing. Like we were born into this society where excuses are acceptable, but being held responsible or accountable, it's something bad and annoying, or you're being tight. What is called, you're being uptight, something like that, or like like really old fashioned, we could say, like on army style, right? So yeah, and having excuses is normal. You go out there, you don't do things you said you'll do, or you do not produce what you say you will produce, and then when you look at the reasons are, market is not ready, I cannot launch my product, it's just people are not ready for it. So yeah, any let's go into an examples, right, so that we can all connect through that. So yeah, any examples for you, like where you really shift, where you had excuses all the time and then you shift that?
Yeah, I have many areas, but let's go to my experience with sport. So I was, before I started with kickboxing, I was like 14, and I would be a little bit chubby, and I would be sick all the time, and I didn't have time or energy to train, and I was smoking and drinking and all the bad stuff. And even my grades weren't so good. So I was in the first year of high school. And when I was in the second year, I started training hard and competing. And all the excuses went away, actually. Why? Because my outcome was much stronger. So basically, all the excuses that were there before, oh, it's not my fault that I have bad grades, it's because the teacher is, I don't know, not normal and she cannot explain the topic and so on, everything went away because I took the responsibility. Oh, I need to have a high grades if I want to go to the competition. And it just poof, it disappeared. The teacher was okay, everything was fine, my grades were high, And I actually I was like 14, 15 that time. I didn't understand that that was my excuse, and it was not their fault. It was my fault, and taking the responsibility. Blah blah. It happened because I wanted something so badly.
Mhm.
But if I look at that nowadays, when I'm a grown up and I understand those kind of things, I could say, let's okay, which one could be? Okay, the relationship with guys. So my excuse was that all the guys, I cannot have a good relationship or long-term relationship because all the guys are womanizers and liars and blah blah blah. Mm, but then I did some. I went to forum. I did some. Uh, how could I say that? Upgrade. I did some upgrade, and I realized it just an excuse that someone else is there to blame. That is his fault. That our relationship is not working. I'm not taking the responsibility. So yeah, I'm still transforming that, but at least I see now that that's just my excuse for not taking the responsibility for working on a happy and healthy and long-term relationship.
All right, awesome, awesome, right? And it's just so simple, right? Why they do not teach us that in school? Like that's one of the most common thing that it's like holding human beings back to reach our full potential. It's like that they allow us, they allow us to have excuses and to excuse ourselves all the time, and nobody goes like after it is like, look man, you know this is the responsibility. This is what's missing in your life, being responsible. Having excuses is the easiest thing you can have. And if they would teach us that in school and how to deal with that and how to become responsible human beings, not in terms of get an education and go out there, find a job, pay the bills, and you will be a responsible human being, which is a bullshit, right? I mean, monkeys can do that. It's not a scientific thing. It's not philosophical thing. It's not something, a little kid cannot do it. So yeah, this is exactly right. When you said when I was 14, I went to training, I didn't even understand at the time what an excuse or being responsible means, which is exactly what I'm also discovering on workshops. So yeah, on point, right?
But you said why they're not teaching that us in school. I was thinking about the teachers, and I was like, come on, even they don't know that. They are like my mom. She's a teacher, and she works at school, at high school, and I when I get home and I talk to her, I'm like, oh, sometimes I'm just like, oh my god, because she complains so much about the system, about the other teachers, about the pupils, and it's just like, wow, it's
Yeah.
almost the same as they are. So it's the system. So they cannot teach us that because they don't know it.
Yeah, and then who's the blame? The system. So now we have a good excuse. But who is the system, right? Well,
Yeah, the people,
it's
the,
us. Exactly.
every one of us. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's easier to say the system when then it's actually, it's an excuse of, how to say, you put it in an object, not in not human being, right? So when it's an object's fault, it's like you can't do anything about it because the system is the way the system is, and just like a chair is the way the chair is. So we cannot do much about chair. We cannot turn chair into a car. We can like put it in the car, but it's not gonna drive on its own, So the same thing when we are part of it, but we don't want to be responsible for it. You say it's a system's fault. It's a country's fault. Who's the country, man? So yeah, that's a good one. So Mr. JP said, I mostly use excuses to comfort myself, like it's okay not to do whole workout because my wrists hurt me, so it's actually responsible of me to skip the workout. Yeah. I mean, but then in the end, say it.
It's a thin line, right?
Yeah.
I was just thinking like, okay, so everything can be an excuse, right? If you look at it that way, because I was just like thinking about the workout because Miss JP wrote that, and I was like, okay, so when it's raining outside and I don't want to go running, it's an excuse, but where's the line, that's an okay excuse and it's a not okay excuse.
Yeah. I mean, we all know where is the line, to be honest, right? So if you really have let's take this example. If you really have a pain in your wrist, you know that with exercise, most likely you will only enlarge that, whatever is going on. Most likely, not with every. Sometimes you have a pain, you do a workout and the pain is gone. So that's the magic thing of, I don't know how that works, but it does sometimes. But I would say, taking into consideration that she is lifting Ty up and down a lot of times, holding him, which is already like a workout, like I can do more push-ups and I'm not doing the whole complete workouts, but I'm lifting Ty a lot. So it's just like, and I can do more push-ups because of that. My body is getting stronger because we're working out basically all the time whenever we lift him up. And then, play with him or I throw him in the air. It's like, it's
like
throwing
a kettlebell.
It's throwing 10 kilos in the air, have fun, throw it 10 times. You'll see how much so I would say, yeah, it is a thin line, and we all know when it's a bullshit and when it's not, I would say. Because it's easy to bullshit and it's easy. It's recognizable, right?
Yeah, if you're very honest to yourself, then
exactly.
But sometimes I catch myself that I didn't get it, like I didn't get it. It was an excuse. It took me some time, but still I would say I'm pretty conscious about what I say or do, but still not enough, definitely. But when I think of me a few years back, I wasn't that way, and then I really bought all the excuses I had. So it's a hard living, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. And we're not saying excuses are bad, so they're wrong, they're bad or something like that. Excuses are excuses. That's all they are. But what I meant to say was, when you said, all right, I didn't recognize it at the moment, but I recognize it later on. As long as you recognize it at some point, then you have a real choice, right? It's not, excuse is not controlling you, but you're actually controlling them. Like, all right, I have an excuse now and I can go do workout or the dishes or go for a walk. Because before you were just like, all right, it's a bad weather.
Yeah.
And that is where the thought process ends. So I would say, as long as you figure it out and then next time you don't use it anymore, you come out as a winner, right? It's not like a sprint. Life is a marathon for most people. So yeah, and then what you said, being conscious about it, that is a good thing. And how to get conscious about excuses is you just look how it's impacting your life, right? How it is for us when we are excusing ourselves. So, all right, I want to have 6 packs. There is a workout. There is a nutrition plan. I don't follow it. What's my excuse? I know it's too hard. 6 packs are not for me. It's not in my DNA. So, it's just like, So, and then how do I feel about myself? Yeah, all the time putting myself down, right? Looking yourself in the mirror, you're like, oh, look at this fat fuck here. What the heck is wrong with you, man? You look like a whatever, right? Or we can have an excuses about when we go to work, right? It's my boss is the way, this and that way, blah, blah, blah. And how is that impacting relationship with your boss? it's probably not flourishing. It's probably not loving or connected. It's like, all the time tight. Things cannot be communicated. So it's just like with anything. You just have to always look at the impact of excuse, right? So, but I can totally admit I was not even, I don't know. I see excuses also as a way of lying. They're just lying, It's just more fancier way of lying, we could say. Because rarely there is an excuse that you cannot hold yourself accountable for. But when it's not, then it's not even an excuse that you didn't do it. It's just the reason why you didn't do it. We don't say, oh, that's my excuse. No, this is the reason why I didn't do it. I came there and nobody else showed up. All right, cool. Now you can blame everybody else, or you can what could you do about it that everybody would show up? So you could call them, you could send them a message in the morning. Hey, we're meeting at 8. Let's meet, let's have fun, right? And people would oh yeah, I forgot, but I will be there, So always we can put the blame on something out of ourselves or inside. So where was I left? What did I want to say with that?
You reminded me of I'm always very proud and happy when I see you two guys not taking time for an excuse. Because I don't have kids, but it seems really scary or horrible for me when I hear moms saying that her kid is a problem, and because of him or her, she cannot have a nice body, or she cannot finish the seminar, the school, whatever. And then I don't know, because I don't have kids, but I was thinking okay, so how would that kid feel if he would understand that you're blaming him actually for your own excuses? He is your excuse, basically, right?
Yeah, but we can look into that. It's pretty simple otherwise. So, people are putting excuses or blame on their kids for not to do things all the time. And that's why most of generations are fucked up. To be honest, you're living with the blame, with the guilt of somebody not doing something because they created you or they made you, however you want to express that. So not even doing anything, you just exist and you are already guilty as charged. So, mother cannot have a perfect shaped body because she has a kid. Good luck. How do you think that, exactly what you said, how do you think that kid is gonna go around? He's already guilty that you're fat. So there's nothing he can do about it because, he didn't do anything about it to start with. So yeah, it's a perfect example why then when you look at kids or us, why the parents are the way they are and then why the kids are the way they are, putting excuses all the time. It's so easy to have an excuse and we will use anything. We human beings are, like you say, we use our own kids for excuse not to live our life fully.
Or our parents.
Or our parents. Yeah. But, as a kid, you learn that from your parents. It's just, kid doesn't learn anything on their own regarding relationships. They learn about relationships when they observe relationships around them. So how their parents are. That is a great topic because we have that topic by the end of the month, relationship with parents. So we can talk more about that in there. But yeah, you said it greatly. And thank you for seeing that.
Yeah.
And it's easy to say. I can say that I am using him in my mind as an excuse that I don't do workout because my body hurts a lot. My back is trashed, to be honest. Also Ursha's, but I still do stretch, and I know I can do something about it. All right, do stretching, call Ula for a massage, something, right? We can do something about it, or just stand up, do the workout, and you'll feel better because muscles will be a little bit stretched and stuff like that. So to be honest, and yeah, to go back where I was before, excuses are lying. So man, I was a liar big time. I still do sometimes, to be honest. I do. When I don't want to deal much with like why I didn't, when I don't want to take responsibility for the situation, let's say, right? So why are you not doing it when, and I use it mostly when I don't want to do something, when I'm like, I'm not willing to do something. I don't want to look into that, and then I just say I have this and that, or this and that is going on, something, and but the impact of that is that, all right, I don't do the thing that I don't want to do at the moment, but the thing that I am doing, I'm not fully present to that thing because I know I was bullshitting there. So, it's just that that's how our life then goes. It's like this nice vicious circle going around and around and around, and it's draining ourselves out. We know that every time we put out an excuse out there, we know we lie just a little bit, and then just a little bit, and just a little bit, and then it's like, huge pile of this, and we think, oh, nothing we can do anything about it. All these excuses and all this lying, I'm a liar, I'm like this and that kind of person, when in fact you can just take a shovel, be responsible for it, and put it in the ground and what to say, grow flowers on top of it. Not weed. Not weed, and I don't mean a drug weed, but the weed, those plants that we don't use for much. So yeah, I would say, it's funny topic, the excuses, because they are out there all the time, and I want to have excuse also for tonight. The Streamlabs didn't work like 20 minutes before we start, and I restart the computer and then it started working. So I was already thinking, yeah, maybe we don't do it. It's all the time there. Maybe we don't do it. What if we don't do it? Nah. What's the excuse? What will I say? Why, Streamlabs doesn't work. Sorry guys, I cannot fix it in the next 20 minutes because I have a computer which is really fast, and so yeah, it's going like that, right? And excuses are, it's just draining our how to say, the life out of us. It's that simple.
Yeah, there are some excuses that I really want to talk about because I see that a lot, because as a personal trainer, especially in women, I don't know if that's just me or it's actually more common when it comes to women. When we have workouts scheduled, and let's say it's outside, or it's not even outside, it's inside, but outside is raining, and they have to go to the gym, and it's raining, and they have to get into the car, and it's gonna be like a bad drive because it's raining, and they need an umbrella and blah blah blah, and they just don't show up. And then I ask them, why, where are you? Oh, it's raining, it's such a bad weather, I cannot go to the gym. And I'm like, what? I literally don't understand, right? I'm like, I don't understand. What do you mean? And for them, it's like they, after we talk a little bit, they get it. It was an excuse, a really good excuse in their head, and they bought it. But there are other things like I don't know. One time, a girl told me that she broke her nail and she cannot work out because it might be dangerous. I thought she's joking, right? Or that she's just making a stupid excuse. But for her, it was like pretty real thing. And I feel kind of sad, or I don't know how to describe it, when I hear those things, or see these things. And I just want to encourage women, if they decide to do something for themselves, and they have scheduled meetings for training, which is really good, because if they are scheduled, there is like you will probably show up, right? Because it's scheduled. um and just don't let your mind to trick you. Just go whatever, what if you feel down, if you feel tired, go to the gym or go to your trainer or wherever, and just do one thing, like 10 minutes at the beginning. If you still feel bad or tired or whatever, then go home, no problem. But normally what happens, all those excuses disappear and you have the best time of your life. So that's something I'm really trying to put out there for all the women. Just do the first 5-10 minutes, and then you can just say, okay, it's not for me today.
Yeah. I mean, good one that you're putting that out there for the ladies. And yeah, it is in the end, right? So you're up to let's call it transform your body, or to put your body in a shape, and then you break a nail and you're like, oh, I can do it. So, because for the crunches you need nails. And it's not a joke, actually. What I'm saying is just like, that's how it is.
Mhm.
That's how easy we give up on our dreams, or on our wishes, or on what we want to do in life, or to have in life, or to be in life. It's that easy, you know. Oh, the black cat went over the road.
Mm.
End of my life, you know. An excuse can be anything, right? Anything, because of what you don't do that you said you will do, or you don't have what you said you will have, and it's just that simple. I don't know how to put it elsewhere, or what else should we say about excuses. It's just like, it's pretty simple.
Mm.
Excuses means no responsibility. That's it. And it's okay. Nothing is wrong with that. A lot of people are living like that, surviving life like that. But if you want to live, you put in a pinch of responsibility. Bloop, you know,
Mm.
where am I responsible for this outcome that didn't happen? You can go like, oh, maybe you need to look like a week ago or a month ago. For some things, you need to look years ago, to see where you missed on being responsible, and that is the consequence or the impact of what you're having or doing now, right?
Yeah, I have one more story that it's pretty hardcore, but I want to put it out there, so maybe someone will find an inspiration in it or something. So about, I'm always saying that we should take 100% responsibility for our life, what for what we are doing or not doing, because it's the easiest way to live. Because it's me, right? It's me. It's just, I can do it or I cannot do it. If I need to blame someone else, I cannot like strangle him. Do it, it's I don't have that impact on others. I just have the impact on me. So like a few months ago, I promised my whole team I'm gonna make a speech. It was on Zoom, obviously. um, and they were really counting on me. It was an important speech. uh, and my grandma died like a few days before. Even we had on the day that my grandma died, we had a Zoom. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna tell those guys that my grandma died. If they want me to do it, because there was still Emma here, right? And I was like, okay, if they really want me to do it, I'm gonna do it. But you guys were like, okay, you just it's two of us, we're gonna do it. You do your thing, right? So I was with my family and everything. And then I think 2 days later, I had that big talk, right? And I was so down, because I think everything came after, like 2 days after the whole thing happened. And I was like, oh my god, how am I gonna do that? I need to inspire them, right? I need to be full of energy. And I was so low and so down. And I was like, okay, so if I take 100% responsibility for my life, for what I do or don't do, I need to do that because nobody else can do it instead of me. That was one thing, right? Um, and I went there on Zoom and I even asked myself, okay, but my grandma, what she would want? Would she want that I cry here, or she want me to do something good and inspiring? I said, okay, I'm gonna do that. I came to the Zoom and I really put all my energy in and everything. I was really responsible for myself and for my team. And then at the end, I just said to them, I have to tell you because you might notice at some point that I wasn't on my at my best. My grandma died 2 days ago, and I could sit on in the sofa right now and cry, or I am here for you and for myself and taking the whole responsibility for the whole team and what I promised you. And I really want to inspire you guys whenever that happens, something like that happen. Just find your meaning, um your responsibility, right? And they were like looking at me like, oh my god, I cannot believe it that your grandma died and you're here and you're inspiring us. But I want to share this here because yes, sometimes something really bad happens, and we are down, but if we take the responsibility, if I look it back now and I didn't do the speech, what would happen? Probably something not that good, right? I wouldn't go now into that, but let's say it wouldn't be really good for me long term. And I did the speech and things went up, like spiral up, right?
Yep.
So I took the responsibility for my future, even though I didn't feel nothing like doing it. So that's like a little bit hardcore maybe, but that's something I think it could help someone, right?
Yeah,
At some
definitely.
point.
Definitely. And what you're sharing is great. And it might hear harsh for a lot of, people who will be listening that or are listening that now. It's anything can be taken as excuse. We said kids before, right? Another thing is death. So somebody died, so I gave my word to some things that I will do, but because somebody died, the circumstance I won't fulfill because at the moment I don't feel okay. Just like, yeah, okay, I get it, right? But if we touch that, it's like you're alive, right? What is your excuse? That person is dead. They can't do anything about it anymore. That's it. What they did, they did. What they didn't do, they didn't do, and that's it. But you're alive, and you said I will give you the speech, and you did it regardless of, right? And you didn't like you also said that doesn't mean you don't like your grandma or you don't love your grandma if 2 days after you do things that you said you're going to do. It just means, for me, how I see it, you honor her even more. Because we all know if we would die right now, we don't wish people around us stop living. Nobody says that, right? If I die, I should say, okay, I hope Ursha and Ty there stop living, that they are being in this apartment 24/7 for the rest of their lives, just crying after me. No, who live your life, It's like it's your life. I am part of it as long as I was part of it, and when I'm not, it move on. Live your life. You have this one life. What you gonna do with it? You're gonna fill it up with excuses and then have tons of regrets and all considerations and grudges by the end of it, or you go out there and do it regardless of what the circumstances are outside and inside, which is like, you didn't feel it the best, but you went and you generated yourself into being an inspiring and empowering at that moment. And then afterwards, you probably went back and, you mourn whatever you needed to do to deal with the loss of the grandma, but you didn't skip on your word, on you didn't skip on who you are for the people and yourself. So, and that is the perfect example, like you said, what it takes, taking responsibility on regardless of circumstances, excuses you might have. So yeah, awesome. Really, really, I didn't know that, right? I had something similar for you in mind for the podcast, to be honest. You gave your word, you got to be here, la la la. But then I was like, look, you know it all. It's your choice. In the end, it's your choice. We have no leverage here to force you into anything. So it's your choice, right? And however you choose, it's okay. So that is it. But yeah, knowing all that, it could be like, then you could be here with us on that Monday. Why you weren't, right? So, it's always, like you said, it's a thin line, but there is a line. Even though it's a thin, there is a line. And you're like, know when you're on one side or on the other side, right?
Yeah, I think if you choose it because you choose it, not because you're making an excuse, you actually know it. And there's another thing, communication, with people that are somehow engaged in the situation. It's a different story if, I don't know, something happens to you and you just don't show up, or you actually talk to people and say, hey, this and this happened to me and I don't feel like doing that. What do you think about it? Right? It's different.
Yeah. Always a good thing is to be in communication. Definitely. What you're saying is on point. Being in communication is actually the key. Whenever you go out of communication, that is when the troubles happens. But that is a maybe topic for later on. We could have a topic on communication and consequences of communicating and not communicating. But it's already an excuse, right? Hey, usually the excuse in there is, I didn't want to burden you. I'm like, whenever people say that, I'm like, get the fuck out of here. You didn't want to burden me, but you're telling me about the weather and stuff like that. That is burdening me. I see the weather. It is what it is. Tell me what's going on with you. What are we talking about here? What are we doing? I'm like, for real?
Funny.
So I'm looking into my life. So I would say I was full of excuses. A couple of years ago, like also before the forum, I was smoking weed. I do this. I was like, I'm searching for myself. La la la. Everything was every circumstance was a good excuse for me not going after what I want, but I didn't know what I want. So then that was an excuse, So anything, but I would say the key in all of it was that I was still somehow being in communication with my parents, who basically I lived at their house until I was 28, 29, or even more. I don't know, 30, 31. You got to say what it is. That's what it is, right? So it was 31, basically. I think 30 or 31 when I met Ursha. Then I went out. And the key was communication, like you said before. They knew what was going on with me, and they were supporting me, even though they weren't okay with it all the time. But yeah, it's just like the relationship took us to that. But I was having excuses all the time. Everything was a good excuse not to do it, or I want to do something else. I had this excuse that I want to try out all the jobs on the planet. I want to try everything while I'm being alive, from the garbage taker to the CEO of the biggest company on the planet. I will want to try everything, right? Which is also, like, some people would say, all right, I mean, that's okay. I got you. You want to try everything out, and why not, right? Just there's so many different type of jobs that, if you want to try them out for a day, probably not gonna cut it, right? So you need at least a week. But your life doesn't have enough weeks for all the jobs on this planet. So you cannot try them all out. So maybe, you got to do something around that. So yeah. And it was all avoiding responsibility, and that is my big thing also these days, right? When we are thinking about moving to a house, to buy a house, or to rent a house, or to buy an apartment, to rent an apartment. Now we know at the end we want to be in a house. But the conversation, when it gets real, like yesterday, it becomes like real. We were watching houses that we potentially could buy. I didn't want to. I don't even want to talk about it. It's just, for me, it's just like, man, that means for real, That means for real. We will own a house. What are we talking about here? I'm not nearly enough to, you know, to. It's just like it's confrontational conversation for me. It's like really confronting for me. That's me. I have this nice story that being responsible means being adult, and adults are boring. So I don't want to be boring. And that is a good excuse. I don't want to do it because I don't want to be boring.
Yeah.
Right?
Good one.
Yeah, it's a good one, and it's also taking a lot from me. Instead of being excited, all right, we're in a situation we can actually look to buy a house. No, I'm burdened by, oh my god, have this situation now, this first world problem that we will have to move in a house, and that's gonna be
It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be great. Fantastic.
Yeah, I'm like more like, oh, no, can somebody else do it for me and just say to me where do I need to go and bring the stuff, right? But it's because renting at the moment seems much more real than buying, and buying would actually come from so I could say people that love us wants to help us. They said, like, why would you rent a house? We can support you with buying. And that is another thing, right? It's a good excuse. No. I will do it on my own. I don't want anybody else's money supporting this. I'll do it on my own. And I will do it on my own and probably burn myself down and turn away the love of the people that love me. So that is what actually stood with me, is what the guy who I hosted in talk show, Nate Smodish, who has his brother Matias, who is the EuroLeague champion and stuff like that for two different clubs in Europe in basketball. And Matias said to Nate, look, don't turn away when people want to give you something. Just say thank you and do it. So right, be grateful. And how we live, then Nate said perfectly, and how we live is like, no, we should turn down the gifts or the support of the loved ones for the sake of that we will look good and that we do it on our own. So and bunch of excuses in there, right? Bunch. Just like, what would people think of me if if somebody else is buy a house for me? Oh, there he goes again. He's being granted this great life, born under a lucky star. Everything is given to him. Didn't work for real for a day in his life. So what? But in the end, I did work for real. I don't know if you work as a cleaning guy for 8 hours for a year. I would say that's hard working. So like you can clean anything with I don't know, nothing. Putting papers from one pile to another pile. So but anyway, it's just like all this going on all the time. Excuses, not want to be responsible. So I would have an excuse. Oh, we can't do it now, we don't have the money. I will give you the money. No, we don't have the don't give us the money. We don't want your money. Just like that's real life, right? Just out there. And then you can have these little excuses, so-called little excuses, everyday life excuses, which goes like, all right, how long do I work out today? I said 4 workouts per week, so I will do it Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday, Saturday. It's still 4 per week, all good, right? And even though you have it in schedule originally Monday, Tuesday, Friday, Thursday, Friday, but It's one is like these excuses, right? And then comes, like you said, relationships, which has massive influence on our lives, right? Or moving into your own, like becoming self-dependent and going after what you want, right? So yeah, it's excuses are all over. And the key is, like you said before, if you're conscious enough, you recognize them, and then you just take responsibility for the situation, and you move on. There's no need to have big drama or something like that around it. Just take responsibility, move on, have fun, and that's it.
Yeah. Exactly.
Because you're not gonna die anyway.
You will anyway.
I mean, in the end you will, but I always say, what's the worst thing that can happen if you say sorry, or if you do this, or if you go after what you want? Yeah, what's the worst thing that can happen? Yeah, you might end up broken and going back home for a month or two, or going into a smaller apartment, and then you restart the thing, and you go, you try again and you try again. That's it. Or you can have an excuse and keep on being where we are being. That's it. I would say that's it. I don't know what else to say on topic excuses. If anybody has any questions, shoot them up. If you want to say something, say. Even to be honest, to talking about excuses now for 55 minutes, 50 minutes, right? It's like draining the energy, right?
Yeah.
Just like,
yeah.
Why are we talking about this bloody topic, right?
Yeah, but I think it brought up some important stuff for people. So
yeah, it's always. Good job to both of us, right? But it's like, it's just observing, right? Just talking about them, and if we were talking, like, I would say, try and go complain, which complaining is also excuses in some sort of way, right? So complain or say excuses for an hour, and you will see how much energy you will be left with. It's just like, it just shrinks you. It makes you smaller and smaller and smaller. Of all the potentials as we have as a human beings, we put an excuse, another one, another one, another one, another one, another one, and
and then we're small.
We're like this. Everything is threatening, right? And then you see people who live excuse-free life, or who are really being free and happy and self-expressed, and they exist as a threat to us. They exist like, they're fakers, man. They're phonies. They're not real. They don't live in reality. They're too optimistic. They're like la 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 la. Already saying excuses. I will not be like them, because there is something wrong with them. Right? That's the point. That's where the excuses bring you in the end. It's just like, and then you're cynical and grumpy and cringy and everything we don't want to be. So I would say this is it. You want to add something for the end?
Nope. I just realized even more that I really, really don't want to live in the world of the excuses, and I'm gonna step up my game.
All right, awesome. And you all are invited to that. I'm taking that on. And nothing is wrong if we will have excuse here and there. I always say like this: look, if you have one less excuse than you have yesterday, it's your life will change. And if you have less and less of them, or however you want to say that, you're just like, if you have a little bit of less, it's okay. Because if we go now from wherever we are now, that we're saying from tomorrow on I will have no excuses anymore, not gonna happen. That is just like going into a gym and saying, tomorrow I don't do deadlifts, but tomorrow I'm going to do deadlift 200 kilos. That's the same thing. You're going to go do it. There will be 200 kilos. You will break your shit everywhere in your body, break everything you have, and that's it. And then you will give up. And, so it's a process. It's a training. So one a day or one a the week less, and it's still gonna be way different than it was. If you look like, if we say one per week less, right? It's 56 or 52 in 1 year.
Yep.
So 52 in 1 year less excuses. It's gonna change our lives.
Exactly.
Right. So there's the invitation. Take it on, guys, if you want it. I definitely don't want to talk about excuses ever again for an hour. Honestly, it's just like, I'm like, oh my God, we really have to talk about it. But yes, we do. It is here. It is real. It's out there. We're using them a lot, abusing them a lot, and basically not being responsible whenever we do it. And that is why, we will survive life and not really live it. So have fun. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Night Ignition Podcast, topic excuses.